Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Ruben De Silva. I'm an assemblyman, District 28, high school teacher at Rancho High School, and I'm going to be on the GangboX Podcast, so let's get to it, y'all.
Here we go. And we're back.
Lights on.
Lights, camera, action. We've just decided that this is going to be episode 7 because we've lost track of what number we're on. The GangboX Podcast, all things Vegas, all things Union, all things construction.
Yeah.
We have another guest.
Yes, we have a guest. I will give I'll let him introduce himself. But Ruben De Silva.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, take it
Very
away.
happy to be here.
Good,
Who are
bro.
you? Who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Ruben De Silva. You know, I am an assemblyman. I represent Assembly District 28, which is East Las Vegas, parts of North Las Vegas. I'm also a high school teacher over at Rancho High School. And we had a homecoming last night. Homecoming dance, the homecoming game on Friday. We didn't win, but we had a good game and we had a great weekend. And again, being a Rancho graduate myself, you know, I'm very proud of the school. And always will have a green and white school spirit. Bleed green and white, y'all.
Hell yeah, good shit, bro. So you graduated from Rancho. You grew up in Vegas, or how did you tell me how you got to Las Vegas?
So I'm actually an immigrant.
Really?
My family, I'm from India. I was born in Mumbai, and when I was 2 years old, my family came to the U.S. We were in New York City first. So lived there until I was 6, and then we in 1991 moved out here to Las Vegas. And I've been in the same neighborhood pretty much my whole life, the Civic Center, Lake Mead area. Now I'm on Pecos and Owens, which is right around the corner. I went to Rancho High School. Before that, CP Squires Elementary School. My church growing up, and I'm still there. It was St. Christopher's.
Yeah,
Right there on Bruce Street. So, and now I'm honored to be serving that area and represent that area in the state legislature.
No, that's good shit, bro. Yeah, so my kids went to St. Chris and CP Squires across the street. Bro, I'll never forget. I coached the soccer team at St. Chris for a little bit, and it was crazy because I would see these kids after St. Chris got out, and it was like hours after, and then they would be walking with these orange bags. Every student had an orange bag. And I asked my daughter, I was like, yo, why do they all have those orange bags? And she's like, those kids don't have any money. And they come, she didn't know. She was a child. She's like, no, those are like poor kids. And she's like, they give them food. So she goes, they start school late. So and then they send them home, and they send them home with food because some of these kids don't eat.
It's crazy.
And I didn't realize it. And maybe you have a statistic, and not to put you on the spot, bro. We don't look for the I got you moments.
I do sometimes.
Sometimes he will.
You're ready for him, man. I'm ready for him.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Is it? I know there's a statistic out there, but like Clark County has some schools, bro, that something about like kids that like are hungry. They go home like
food insecure children. Yeah. The statistic I think is that we have about potentially 40%, maybe even half, are according to the definition, food insecure.
Yeah.
Meaning that they're not getting the 3 square meals. There's deficiencies in nutrition, so on and so forth. So it's a big issue.
It is, bro,
for our children here in the state.
Yeah, and we'll move into this, but for the record, just so while it's fresh on my mind. Fucking the film bill does not take away from fucking feeding children in schools. That's
I agree with
fucking lie. But all right, cool, man. So you New York, India, Mumbai,
yeah. So
New York,
and then East Side, North Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Right there. There's still a debate as to where I live. What does it constitute? When I grew up, it was all North Town. It was no question it's North Las Vegas. But now people out there are claiming the East Side. So I just say it's the Northeast. It's both. It's North Las Vegas and East Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I think, but it's a nice debate to get into. The Civic Center, Lake Mead area, Webster Street, Daly, Rancho High School. Is that North Las Vegas or is that the East Side? I think it's both.
What do the kids at the school say?
They claim both.
Really?
They really claim both. It's just I think for sure the further east you go, by the time you get to like Pecos, Walnut, Sandhill, they're like that's the East Side. But like when you're like around Mojave, when you're around Eastern, still Civic Center, there's still you start seeing more North Las Vegas. I'm from Northtown, kind of a thing. But it's interesting, it's like a frontier land.
So CP Squire, St. Chris too, right? Did you go to St. Chris?
I went to St. Christopher.
Right on.
I went there
bro.
from middle school. Yeah.
I like it. Then what happened?
Then after that, I went to Rancho High School. I started there in 1999. Back in the 90s.
You were a freshman in 99?
Freshman in 99, yep.
Oh,
yep.
shit, right on.
Yeah, it was, so I technically did start high school in the 90s. And, I loved high school. I wasn't like the smartest kid. I wasn't a magnet student. I was just a neighborhood kid, but I did well. I ended up graduating with 3.57 GPA, which isn't like, the stellar, top 10, but it was a good solid GPA. I played 3 sports. I captained the soccer team. I played basketball. Ran track and field, had a school record.
Hell
track
yeah.
and field.
No shit.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was the 4x100 relay.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah,
Is it still the record?
No, crazily enough, when my first year teaching, I had 3 students who were on that relay team who broke my record.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I started the whole school.
You should have failed them.
Yeah, I was talking a lot of smack, like I got a school record here.
Yeah.
And then my first year, literally that spring,
they took it from you.
They broke the record.
They said,
yeah.
"Watch this."
Yeah,
That's amazing, bro.
Yeah. But I felt proud. It's like one of those things, like this is your legacy.
Yeah.
And now you see that you're imparting upon now a new generation of folks, and you want them to be better than you. You want them to go further than you. You want them to be great.
And who's to say, bro? You telling them like I hold the record. What's
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
Did it motivate them to try?
I
to
know. I know
break
for
it?
a fact that it did.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
because they
bro.
were always telling me, "Oh, we're gonna break a record, Mr.
Yeah.
De Silva. We're gonna break a record," and they did.
That's
and they
awesome,
did.
dude. That's good shit. So how was it growing up? Look, man, I've known you for
for a
a
long time.
while,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so Indian Catholic from India. Did you ever feel any, like, you grew up here, so it's a little bit different, right? Like if a dog is raised by wolves, he thinks he's a wolf.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously Las Vegas, in my opinion, Nevadan, right? Like through and through. What did you feel any cultural, like racism or any like where you didn't feel in, or what do they call it? Imposter syndrome or anything like that?
Yeah, I always knew that we were like different, because the thing is, I've always been like the only one, me and my family, if you ask me personally, like, how do we grow up? We grew up more like the ideal, like maybe like the quintessential like Latino or black, sort of urban experience.
Yeah.
I mean, and we were the only like Indian family, in that part of town, period.
Yeah.
There was another family there too, the Almeidas, but they moved to the Southwest, by the time I think we got to high school. This is like 99. And so, culturally, I was more culturally connected to like the Latino experience, the black experience.
Yeah.
And more recently, I started connecting more to the broader like Indian community. But I was always Indian. I knew
Yeah,
that
of course,
I was Indian, and specifically Goan. That's my ethnic background with a strong Portuguese emphasis. They were a Portuguese colony. That's why my last name is De Silva. And my neighborhood was very Catholic though. So we took part in all the celebrations.
Yeah.
Our Lady of Guadalupe, that was a big deal in my neighborhood. So my mom, myself, we'd always participate and connect, and that's what really also got me connected to the Latino community deeply, was through our church. Of course, you're always around, primarily Mexican Americans, but because we were so active at St. Christopher, San Cristobal,
Yeah.
I was able to my family and I were able to connect, on a very like intimate cultural level with the Mexican American community, and I'm very thankful, to have been accepted, in some ways, by these communities.
Yeah.
As a young kid.
That's fucking awesome. And so went to Rancho, graduated.
Yeah.
Then what?
So I graduated in 2003, and that's the same year, that March is when the Iraq war began. So, being an immigrant, being undocumented, I had no papers until I was 13. There was a sense really, and it was something that was like really imparted by my parents too, that, hey, look, this country has given us so much. They've not treated us the best. They try to deport us and rip our family apart. But we were able to get through that, overcome that. But there's so many opportunities.
What year was that they tried to deport your family? And
It was the early 90s, 92, 93, I want to say.
so all this shit that's happening now, this ain't brand new.
No, it's, I think
know,
we've been there, done that, yeah.
I know it's not brand new,
Yeah,
but there's
yeah.
motherfuckers out there that want to pretend and act like it's
Yeah.
fucking brand new. And look, you know me, you don't got to co-sign my bullshit, bro. Don't think because you're sitting on the show with me and Daniel, you have to agree. But truth be told, bro, even back then, I know for a fact Dems weren't doing shit about it. You know what I mean? And again, don't co-sign my bullshit.
No, I'll be real with you. We actually, got a letter from Harry Reid. When my dad was going on asking the different congressional representatives for help.
Yeah.
And all the Democrats came back with letters saying that they do not help illegal immigrants. This is the early 90s. It was a very different sort of like time frame. There was one, though, Richard Bryant, who actually said, you know what, we'll take your case on. And there was a caseworker there who worked with us and was able to get a stay of deportation. So we weren't. My mom wasn't deported. The whole argument was that if this happened, my mom, who was the one they were going after, would have been deported. And then myself and my brother Reese, who also was undocumented, would have had to leave. And then my dad, who had a green card, would stay here. And then my two youngest siblings, who were U.S. citizens, they were born in the United States, they would also live here. So because of him, and every time I see him, I always thank him and say, "You saved our family. You were the only person who actually opened your doors and said, we'll take you on. We had nothing to offer. We were poor. Like,
what was his position? Who was he?
He was a senator at the time, U.S. senator.
Oh, U.S. senator.
Richard Bryant.
Gotcha.
He's still around. He's in his 90s, I think now. And then in 2010, my dad actually brought this up with Harry Reid at a campaign event.
Really?
And Harry Reid told my dad. He said, "You know what? I want to apologize to you."
Too late.
Yeah, he said. Yeah.
Sorry.
He said, "I'm sorry." But I respected it. I respected the fact that he took. He said that I was wrong back then, but I want to apologize. And then it touched me. I think personally, to me, it's like it shows that people can change. Especially in politics, sometimes you're like so intransigent. You think you're right. You're embracing a certain policy, but it shows, I think, growth and maturity in the political game when you can say, "Hey, look, I had a wrong stance back then, and now this is the right stance," and you admit to it, and you also apologize to people. I think so. I took it as like a great sign of a growth.
But it's hard to tell the difference because a lot of these elected officials and politicians, they change with the political climate.
That's true.
So
as well, yeah.
at the time, it's like, oh yeah, this is who I am. But then once the political climate shifts, they go, oh, sorry, that wasn't me. And it's like hard to tell. Well, is it genuine, or are you just going with the flow of where the political climate is?
That is true. That is true.
But you felt like it was genuine.
I try to be optimistic and judge people by what they're coming at me with. I know.
No.
You got to be sometimes cynical. You got to be real. But
right.
But I felt that
you felt it was genuine.
I felt that the apology was very genuine.
Look, legitimately, that's one thing I can say about this man, bro. Like legit. We'll be in the building in the legislative building in Carson City. And I'll be like, oh, this motherfucker, like, they're going to be a no. And he's like, I don't know, man, you sure? Like, I don't. And he's like always trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, bro. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I want to shake him. And I'm like, bro, you know it. And he's like, no, we'll just see. And I'm like, bro, he'll calm me down. And you don't even know that. Yeah. But you see me fired up in that building, running around like a little fucking tornado sometimes. Yeah. And I'll see Ruben. And then I was like, I'll go in there to just go seek a little bit of peace and serenity in his office, bro. Mm-hmm. And people are like, in Ruben's office? What the fuck? And I'm like, bro, he has like a board where they'll write daily quotes sometimes and shit. Remember that?
That was Breon and Courtney.
Bro. And so you go in there, and then I'll be in there and be a menace and write some fuck shit on there. And then they'll erase it or something. It's a good time.
But I think like politics is about the art of the possible.
It is.
You got to be optimistic. You got to be like, we can make this happen. Like I remember during the A's, issue or the whole like process. In 2020, and same thing. He'd come at me like, "It's not going to happen. This is going to kill our jobs. We have tens of thousands of construction jobs.
Yeah,
it's all on the table. They're going to vote no." I said, "Yo, Vince, it's going to happen. Let's just work at it. Work at it." And it happened.
Optimistic?
It was a close vote, but we made it happen. We made history.
How optimistic are you about the film bill?
When I look at it, to me, it's like a no-brainer. I'm like, we're bringing an entire industry to the state. We're diversifying our economy. It's a sunsetted sort of like tax credit. It's 15 years, but the scale of the project is just so immense. This will be, it'll change the face of Nevada's economy, and so to me, it's like we have one shot at this. We got to pull it. So I'm being cautiously optimistic that some of my colleagues will come back to it, but. It's been tough. It's been tough. I think philosophically, there's like three camps. You have folks like myself who strongly believe in growing the economy, and sometimes you need to have incentives. Built-in incentives. I.e., transferable tax credits. So on and so forth. We got to be open to that conversation. And then I think there's some who are just philosophically opposed to the idea of tax breaks, for companies or corporations, or they'll say billionaires, and you hear the language. It's philosophically. This doesn't mean that they're bad people. That they're just like that's their stance. That's what they believe.
I think they're bad people.
Yeah. What do we call them? Scumbag pieces of shit.
Because I mean, I have a different perspective. I think that they're coming from a good place in their heart. And then there's a third group, and this is what I've seen, that feel that they support the idea, even the idea of tax credits, for a corporation or for a business or a business entity. But it's the optics, especially with what's going on, with a potential cut, in healthcare benefits, in SNAP benefits. I mean, so they're like, how does it look like if we're giving away, quote unquote, giving away, monies, to a business entity, and then have to maybe potentially come back to make cuts to basic services. So I think there's also an optics issue there. Sure. But I staunchly believe that this is the right thing to do, that this will change the face of the Nevada economy, and that we're making history, and as we become a more mature state, a more dynamic state, as we move away from this small rinky-dink, one show pony, resort industry, hospitality-based state, we move into something more dynamic, more diversified. This is going to be that huge step forward. It'll be the film industry.
This will be the game changer, bro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you felt like you wanted to serve your country.
Yeah.
Despite the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the traumas and the bullshit.
Even through all that,
the country tried to deport you.
They tried to deport. But the thing is, like, I grew up in a neighborhood that this was commonplace.
Yeah.
I grew up in my neighborhood even to this day is about like 70% Hispanic. Many, it's like a real like hub for where undocumented people really live in the city even back then, and but it's also served as like this just like a catapult of like upward mobility, hardworking folks who know we got our back against the wall. We don't have a social security number. We don't have papers. La migra, as it was called back then, is constantly on your back. So you got to make a way out of this, So, my uncle was deported. He actually was deported in the 90s, 95, 96, I think it was. So this is not something new. We knew that this was always something that could happen, but it didn't stop us from pursuing our American dreams. We just keep going. And my dad and mom always said, this country, again, has given you so much, you got to give back. You owe this country, some level of service. And it's one of the reasons why, when I graduated, I decided to join the Marines. Myself, a lot of my friends, the Marzolas, came. My friend, so many of us in our neighborhood who were joining the Army, the Navy, the Marines, Air Force, who were immigrants. And this was like, I think we felt an opportunity for us to show that we also can be a part of this nation's endeavor, that we can also participate in, I think, one of the highest sort of like ways you can serve this country, which is in uniform.
Hell yeah!
And
so, what was your unit in the Marines?
Yeah, I was a truck driver.
Oh, yeah?
I was a pogue. As they call.
Right on.
Person other than grunts.
Yeah.
So but on the same token, that's probably one of the most dangerous jobs in Iraq. I quickly found out. Because the main sort of like way of engaging us would be roadside bombs. Vehicle-borne IEDs, snipers. That sort of stuff, and they would attack convoys. That was the thing, and I was deployed. I did my basic training, came back.
How was that, bro? Was it like easy because you were an athlete? Not easy.
Basic training?
Yeah, like going through the process, bro.
Yeah, it was hard. It was
being a 3-sport athlete, doing the thing,
I think that athletes sometimes go in there with this sense that I'm in shape, that you have the sense of like I can do this, but it was hard. I think the athletes had the toughest time in boot camp. It was like the gritty, like tough, maybe non-athlete who probably did the best because they were always trying to better themselves. And I found some of the star football players, basketball players, soccer players. They're the ones who were falling out in PT, all the time. It's a different sort of mentality in the Marine Corps, but it was tough. It was one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life was Marine Corps boot camp. But it's also one of the things I think that really solidified, me in terms of who I am today. And it gave me a sense of like understanding that nothing is impossible. Like if you just work and you have a good team around you, you're a good teammate, anything can be, any mission can be accomplished. So that's I think the Marines do a really good job of that. When it comes to our boot camp and our basic training. So after basic training, I came back. I did a couple semesters of college. I finished up at CSN, and then my first semester at UNLV, we got the letter saying that my unit was going to be deployed.
Oh shit!
So I finished up that semester. This was fall 2006, and yeah, soon thereafter we were in Iraq, and this is during the surge. So the surge, if just for those who may remember this, was like a new sort of like policy that the Bush administration had embraced, saying that instead of like being on these FOBs or these bases and trying to control the insurgency, we should actually go out and engage, with the people. And also, if need be, engage with the enemy. And we saw the highest level of like urban fighting during that time frame since the Vietnam War.
And there was no, from what I understand and what I read, and I wasn't in the military, but from what I understand, is there's never been urban combat like that ever. Like there was no way to really prepare or train for that at that time, right? Because it was always jungle or desert.
Yeah. So it was different from Vietnam. I mean, we have a lot of experience in like in war
for
fighting.
sure,
Yeah,
bro.
the U.S. does, but this was a different kind of a sort of war. We were going against like different sort of like entities too. First, you had like the jihadis. These were like people who were strongly believed that in like the whole jihadi message. Al Qaeda in Iraq, those sort of folks who would really on become what's that group that took over Syria? ISIS and ISIL. So those were the religious sort of like folks, and these were not just Iraqis. These were people from Chechnya, from Yemen.
Shit.
Yeah, they were many times we'd catch these guys, we'd capture them, and they were not even Iraqis. They were from all other parts of the Muslim world who were coming there to fight us, to wage jihad on us. And then you had like these nationalists too. These were like folks who wanted just to kick the United States out because they felt they were occupiers. So there were those people too, and everybody has different motivations. So these were like political sort of like nationalists who wanted to like kick us out and establish a Western free kind of like Iraq. And then you had like infighting between like the groups too. You had the Sunnis and the Shiites. Yeah, they all had militias. It was such a complicated like affair, and trying to like work all this out was very difficult. And later on I would actually study this. When I got to like Yale and Penn, which is what I majored in. I majored in the role that religion plays in diplomatic affairs and global affairs because of my time in Iraq, seeing this. It really like aroused my intellectual curiosity.
Yeah, you wanted to understand.
Yeah, I wanted to understand like, what was I doing out there?
Right.
Why are we not like succeeding? So while I was in Iraq on one of my missions, I did get injured. We were going through a resupply mission through Fallujah, and I was hit by a sniper. While I was manning the turret gun, the bullet just came down on me. I didn't see it, of course. Snipers are just hidden.
Yeah, of course.
Came right down, hit me in my arm, and I saw the guy. And this is why I don't think this was an actual trained sniper. Usually a sniper just it's one shot. If they hit you or they miss you, they bounce back. This dude leaned out of the window and started try to finish me off.
Yeah.
He just started opening up on me.
Oh fuck.
And so the rounds are going by me, and then something. It's to this day still kind of controversial, But I had a belt-fed machine gun, and I put it on him. Even though I was hit, I was able to like put it towards him. But then I saw that he was shooting at me from what I saw, and I think it was, for all intents and purposes, it was an apartment building. So I'm like, I just can't. I made a split-second decision. I can't open up with a machine gun into a building that probably got a bunch of civilians in it. So instead I used my M4, pulled it out, and just started blasting back at him. And he's screaming at me in Arabic. And then I just bagged on him. I said, "I'm from North Las Vegas." I was opening up. That's all I could think of in my head.
That's how far away? How far away is he?
It was close. He should have killed me. He was about probably 25, 30 yards away. Me personally, that's a kill shot for me. Marines were very big on marksmanship.
Yeah, 30 yards.
Yeah, and he missed me, hit me in my arm. Yeah, instead of my, I think he was going for my face. That's the only part of me that was like uncovered. I had a sappy plate, Kevlar helmet. And the round just came through, just hit my arm. It hurt. It felt like a 100-pound weight.
I bet.
And then I saw the muzzle flash too, and I knew immediately what was happening. And I still to this day like think like how. I mean, I can think vividly. It's like second by second, like millisecond by millisecond. But like, I saw it. I was like, I can't open up with this, with this belt-fed machine gun. But instead, I used my M4. But he dropped back, and then
Northtown, bitch, and you started blasting back.
Started banging on him,
Yeah.
you said.
Hey,
Bang, though. That's the only thing. I yelled at him, too. I screamed.
the 90s motherfuckers are different, dog, than these fools now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So
If
when
he
I
was
say I'm a
to-
representative, I'm a representative, man. I'm a
bro.
representative.
And if it was today, they'd be like 6'7".
Yeah.
They say some stupid
Yeah.
shit. These fucking kids now.
Well, I noticed you didn't say East Side.
Yeah, yeah.
You said North.
Ah,
You said
North.
North.
Northtown.
Okay.
Northtown, man.
There we go.
So my even to this day, my district is mostly East Side, but I do got a bit of a North Las Vegas there.
Fuck yeah.
And that's the city I grew up in. I was right on the border, more North Las Vegas still to this day comes to Owens, and I was right there on Lake Mead.
Yeah.
So it's really the frontier. It's-
So-
So did you get him?
I don't think I did because
Somebody got him.
the next day, there was a special forces unit in that area in Fallujah. They went to that site. They found spent shells, where the sniper was, housed, or the room he was in, or her. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
But there was no blood or nothing like that. So I don't think I hit him. But I did my job, which is to get him,
Yeah,
to
stop.
drop back and stop, putting rounds on our convoy. And it took a while, for me to get some help. I remember dropping down into the back into the cabin of the truck.
Was it panic inside, or was
the
everybody
two
cool?
guys. What happened? I'm like, I'm hit. They're like, what? And one of my guys, Rafael Garcia, he put a flashlight on me. I couldn't see, but I could just see like blood just oozing out. Like it was oozing, and like one of my main arteries had been like severed. And he's trying to put a tourniquet on me. It's a tight cab.
Yeah,
cabin,
yeah.
In the truck, and the driver's here, and he's trying to get on the comm and let the lieutenant know that I'd been hit. The tourniquet fell to the ground, so I took my scarf off and I said, let's put this on. But right before I did, I remember this is distinctly this is the millennial in me. I think I gave him my little disposable camera and I said, I told him take a picture of this shit, and I still got the photo, man. My mom has it.
That's
I'm like
crazy.
laying there, I'm flicking the camera off, and it's crazy. Yeah, so
Well, I mean, like, bro,
he looked.
that's-
He looked. He like, are you for real? I said, do it. And then,
bro, I feel like that's like Marine culture, though, right?
Yeah,
like fuck, like this is what the fuck you train for,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
And again,
yeah.
I'm not trying to speak on behalf of fucking Marines, bro, but I got a lot of friends that are
Yeah,
Marines,
yeah.
and it's like that's
just-
the mentality.
that
That's
is,
the
yeah.
way you're wired, dog.
Mhm.
It's like fucking give me more, bitch, right? Like
I was like,
that's what makes America fucking so fucking
Yeah.
badass, in my opinion, dude. You
I
know
mean,
what
it's that's. I was like, I gotta document this. Like, this is crazy. But
Yeah.
I was actually like bleeding out. I could have died, And then we had this thing called electronic countermeasures.
How old were you?
I was 21. Yeah,
The electronic measures, all right.
yeah. It stops the radio detonated
Yeah.
bombs from going off, but it also messes with our comm. So I didn't wasn't able to get a hold of the lieutenant for like 20 minutes, and then they finally stopped, and that's when they saw that I was actually really hurt. Like I was actually hit. They medevaced me, put me in a Humvee, just got me to a hospital, and then I was out. I was out of there, Iraq. I was in Balad first, and Germany for a few days, and then I recovered in Balboa Hospital in San Diego, and then that was a 13-month recovery. They rebuilt my arm. I still can't use my hand. A lot of people don't know that. I can't really I can't do any of this. I can't type. So I'm disabled. But I tell people, I mean, I'm blessed. There's folks out there who are really messed up. Having a gunshot wound is like a blessing, really, because everybody else who I was recovering with at the hospital, the vast majority were victims of roadside bombs. They were really jacked up,
bro.
compound injuries. I mean, amputees. I mean, and that stuff, it just hits you everywhere. It just goes all over your body on the shrapnel. So I was blessed. I thought, as crazy as it sounds, for having a gunshot wound and not being blown up.
Yeah.
So I never thought of myself as, I knew I was disabled, but I never thought of myself as being as, as badly injured as some of the other heroes who I was recovering with. Because I was right there. I do my occupational therapy, and then I'd see the other guys, right next to me, going through their therapy, and it was way more difficult. Way more difficult.
Was that
They're
like
friends of mine? We all became friends, in the hospital.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask next. Well, so you have your band of brothers in the field, I guess.
Yeah.
And then in recovery, it was like a different bonding experience.
Yeah, different sort of bonding experience. So we were all hurt. They call us broke dicks. That's the Marine Corps phrase. The affectionate Marine Corps term for us. And we wanted to get back into the fight. There's a sense that
Fuck yeah.
we're not with our. I was like, that's all I thought about every day. Was like, can I get back over there? It's crazy, and I hated being in Iraq. I absolutely hate it. When I was in Iraq, I was like, I can't wait to get back to the States. When I was, injured in the hospital, all I could think about was my platoon mates. I was like, I felt like I was like, giving up on them, or that that I wasn't there with them. But the doc said, no, you're here. Your injury is like way too serious, and you're not gonna be leaving this hospital for a long time, because I had to, of course, go through the surgeries. I had 7 of them to rebuild my arm, and then I had to go through the therapy, the physical rehab, to get to a place where I was like decent enough to be brought back into the real world. So it really changed, my sort of like attitude on like life. I came within a fraction of a second really to being killed. Even like in college, I was failing classes. I was partying. I was in a fraternity. Just not as focused on academics. But after I came back, like every single class I took, I got an A in it. And then that's when I also decided to like kind of maybe look at the Ivy League as a potential place for me to go study.
Yeah. So you came back from Balboa to Vegas?
Yeah, yeah.
And then what happened?
So I came back and just went right back to UNLV. It was wild to me that I was like, I've just gone through this harrowing experience. I've seen war, and now I'm right back in college.
And motherfuckers there don't even have no clue
they
what's
had no
happening.
clue. A lot of kids had no clue.
No
there was a
clue.
lot of protests and stuff. I never
No.
I didn't like get involved in anything. I was just like, but I also like respected their right, and I also felt this inside like, what are we doing? Like, we're not out there like trying to quell this country. We're trying. It's just too complicated. I don't think we knew what we were getting into. And after I actually got in. I started studying this. I was focused on history at UNLV, and then global affairs in grad school. I had people like Tony Blair was one of my professors. He was the Prime Minister of England while I was at Yale. He was my professor. I had another professor, a great mentor of mine, Ryan Crocker, who was the U.S. ambassador to Iraq. While I was a lance corporal there.
Yeah.
And they were all said this was a complicated war. That maybe we didn't know. How difficult and how complicated of a issue this was going to be for the country. This war was going to be, and they would flat out tell me this. So that really also gave me this sense of understanding that we have to be very cautious, especially when it comes to like international and global affairs. We just can't be just full steam ahead going in there thinking that we know better. We have to build relationships, and we have to then use those relationships to build trust. And that's how I think, can bring about the change in the world.
Yeah.
And it's I bring a similar sort of approach to my role as a state legislator today. It's building relationships, building trust, and then working towards a common goal.
How did you get to that? So I mean, you come back, you go back to school. How does that lead you to the legislature?
That's a good question. So when I came back, I was trying to be a school teacher. And now it's about 2010, and then I was doing my student teaching over at Canyon Springs, and for the first time like ever, like decades, it had been decades since it had happened. We had a budget, those budget cuts that came in for the recession, and they just had a hiring freeze. They just stopped hiring teachers, and I'm like, I'm doing everything right here. Went served in the Marines, got my GI Bill, got a college degree, and now I can't even get a job. There's no jobs. So that's when I decided to apply for a master's program. I got into Penn. That's where I did my first degree, global affairs, and my second one was at Yale. And then after graduating from Yale, I came back and became a school teacher. I was getting a lot of great opportunities to work in the private sector, work for private schools, but there was a sense in me, again, like this neighborhood gave me so much. I got to come back. So, and people thought I was wild for doing this, but I just came back to Rancho High School and started teaching there after after Yale, and I've been there for. It's the best decision I've made in my life was to come back and teach at the high school I graduated from. Yeah. Every single day, I see this. You see the sort of difference you make in the lives of young people, and that's the teaching element is what got me into politics. I quickly saw that we're not paid well. We have a lot of issues with working conditions and class sizes and benefits, and I got involved with our union, the CCA.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like got me
shout out JV.
Big shout out to John Melvino,
fucking big union boss over there.
Boss, man. He's a straight boss. He's one of my mentors. And it's through my time with the union that I saw quickly that politics is the ultimate table to be at, and if you're not at the table, you're going to be on the menu. So that's, I think, if you're going to ask, the single thing that got me interested in actually running for office would be my involvement with the union.
Fuck, that's interesting, bro. And again, I didn't know that either. And I'm like I said, we've known each other for a while.
Big time, bro. I mean, my first year I saw how important the union was. So I saw on my contract that they only gave me step 1, column 1, which is like a bachelor's degree first year. But I had 2 master's degrees, and I was telling them I should be at a higher level of pay, and they just ignored me. I sent emails, they didn't even respond back to me. So then I went to my union rep. And I said, hey, look, I'm having an issue. I think I should be getting, a higher sort of column because I have 2 master's degrees. That's what the contract says. So they reached out to the district, and then within like 2 days, 3 days, I get a letter from the district saying that I have been accepted.
For my column jump. Thanks.
It was wild. I mean, it was.
Thanks for following the contract. Yeah, so thanks. Nice of you.
I went from 30. It's different numbers now, but I went from 34,000. That was what I was getting paid, 34K a year, to 47,000.
Yeah,
that was a big deal for me.
Fuck, for everyone.
As a 27-year-old, it allowed me to buy a house the very next year. That was, and then they also gave me a bit, not everything, but some back pay, and but that's when I saw, this union shit is for real. Like, if I can't do it, they got my back. Whole nother conversation when the union gets involved.
It's a whole nother level, Daniel. So Daniel and I talk about wage theft and misclassification of workers. That's a form of fucking misclassification of a fucking worker.
It is.
That is a form of wage theft.
Yeah.
They stole your fucking money, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave it back, but it's like, what happens to the entity that fucking jacked your shit?
Yeah.
They were taking from you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe there's a law to be written soon.
I want to criminalize it. I think,
yes.
And we deal with it all the time, contractors, wage theft. And then they get busted, and we have, LMs that we pay to investigate these things, and then the labor commissioner gets involved, right? And it's like, okay, yep, they stole money. All right, so yeah, they're going to pay it back. It's like, well, wait a minute. That's not how the rest of society is dealt with. If you steal something, it's a crime. But for some reason, wage theft is not.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just straight stealing from people.
It is. It's not like, bro.
Yeah.
It is wage theft.
Yeah.
They are stealing money.
Yeah.
So if I go rob a 7-Eleven and I get caught, and Sheriff McMahill, shout out McMahill, best fucking sheriff.
Love that guy.
Hey, fucking love that guy, bro. We're huge McMahill fans in the building trades. But he sends the boys to come get me. And I say, I'm sorry, Sheriff, here's the money back. They don't let me off, bro. I don't get to go home.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
I get locked up. I get the fucking silver bracelets on, and then they fucking send me downtown. And why is it that when we're talking about employers contractually breaking something that they're contractually obligated to do and steal the money of the worker, why aren't they treated the same?
Yeah, I agree. I
way?
think there should be like harsh penalties for people who do that.
Bro.
To me, it's like one of the most disgusting things.
I wish I knew somebody who created laws.
Hey,
Yeah,
fuck,
that'd
we
be
can
nice.
fix this.
Let's talk.
Yeah,
You know me. Let's talk. I'm when it comes to unions, I have a strong belief that if it's not for our unions, then the average worker will be exploited, will be taken advantage of, and it would be such a power disproportionate sort of like environment. If our unions are the only thing that actually keeps our workers protected. And I learned that quickly, even as a white collar like teacher, that I can't do it by myself on my own. I need to have the union support, and once they got involved, everything changes.
Yeah.
And
the union's only as strong as its members, bro.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
so hearing you say this and you, because you never had a leadership role in the union or anything like that, right?
I was like a rep,
Yeah, kind of like a steward or something?
Yeah, at my school.
Okay.
One of them, we have a couple. Sometimes we have one. Some schools will have like 3, 4. It depends, and that's about it.
Yeah. But you were never salaried by the...
No, never.
Man, it's like a steward.
Yeah, like a steward.
I was just like a regular member, very active. I go to all the assembly meetings and delegate meetings, voted, for all of our contracts, and I was organizing, rallies and boycotts sometimes. Not boycotts really, but like demonstrations, things like that.
So you get in teacher, and then what happens from there? What's your first political step?
So I ran for Congress.
What district?
District 1.
District 1. Miss Titus.
That was Titus. She was she still is the incumbent. And again, I was really caught up, with like the whole like Bernie Sanders movement. But if you're young, you have some ideas, get involved. Yeah. I didn't run a negative or nasty campaign or anything like that. It was all about like the issues. I'm a strong believer in Medicare for all. I think that's one thing that I know we can accomplish. Have some sort of a public option, some sort of a free healthcare, for everybody and if you can afford it, go get your private insurance, all good. But you shouldn't be going broke,
Private assurance is about to be unaffordable for everybody.
It's crazy. Yeah.
We're going to need something.
Yeah. I think, and there's a lot of support for it. It's like a super majority of Democrats support a Medicare for all sort of approach, even a plurality of Republicans. So I think that it's just a matter of the political will now. Can our elected officials like come together and first and foremost embrace the idea, and then secondly get a working plan together that we can pass through Congress and get the president to sign. The people support it.
Yeah.
But I think it is immoral, for you to go broke, you have to lose your house because you get cancer, or you break a leg. It's crazy, and that happens all the time.
And nobody cares about it unless it happens to them. Yeah. And I think that's like what you're talking about. There's some Republicans and some Dems who fight harder for it because I think them or their family or friends have been affected by it.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to go to set up a GoFundMe because you got sick.
Right.
You should. Whenever I see that too, I chip in whatever bits I can. But I know these are like crazy costs. You're raising maybe $5,000-$6,000, but your actual medical costs out of pocket like $30,000, $40,000. It's we got to do something about it. And I am a strong advocate for the Medicare for all kind of approach that people like Bernie Sanders, Ro Khanna, he also has a plan.
Oh yeah.
In effect, those I think that we have to adopt a model soon, because like you said, even private insurance is becoming unaffordable.
Well, and it's about to, right? I mean, that's obviously what the whole shutdown's about.
Yep.
And that's what concerns me for my members. Mm-hmm. I mean, our members, as part of our benefit package, how much we contribute for our health insurance.
Yeah.
And once it becomes too expensive, all the healthy people are going to leave because it's not going to make sense for them anymore.
Yeah.
And once the healthy people leave the pool, and the pool is sicker, costs go up. And then the next level of people who are kind of sick but not that sick, they're going to leave. And it starts this death spiral, and that's the concern. But you run for Congress and lose. What was that like? What was that?
It was a learning experience. I saw it as nothing but a positive thing.
This guy's way too positive.
You're
kind of pissing me off now. Okay?
I got name recognition. I mean, I looked at it. There was like nothing to lose. I mean, it's either you run, you stand for your beliefs, promote your ideas, and if you win, you'd be a Congress member, a congressman. Or if you lose, I mean, I learned so much. It gave me the tools that I was able to utilize for a successful run for assembly, and plus I had data. I saw very quickly that there were parts of the city that I did extremely well in. I lost that race 22 to the 78. But in like District 11, District 28, those assembly districts, I thought it was a lot closer. And that's my home turf. That's where I grew up. So I said if I ever run, if one of those seats opens up, that's where I should run. And it also gave me like a focus. And plus, I had a team. I knew about campaign finance. I knew about the importance of door knocking. I had a good group of volunteers around me. Professionals and students, high school students, but I also had like a good team. Frank Perez and Breon King. These folks who helped me, and then we were able to hone our skills in that congressional run, and then we were able to really utilize it to a really lethal effect. I think in a pretty competitive primary. That 2022 primary was a competitive one.
Yeah.
So how long after losing the congressional race did you run for state assembly?
So that was 2018, and then I ran for state assembly 2022. So 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 years, and it was ready. It was time to go again.
It was time to go
again. And you're running in a district that you grew up in.
That I grew up in, yeah.
Right? You're not like one of these guys that looked at the map and goes, okay, this seat's going to be competitive. I'm going to move across town and get an address over there and then be like, oh, this is where I grew up.
It was my home turf.
No. Yeah.
I felt that. I felt so good running in that race. I mean, it was competitive, it was very competitive. But and I didn't have, I wasn't caucus endorsed. I didn't have the.
He didn't have the majority of the trades endorsed, bro.
Yeah, nobody. The only CCA had my back. The plumbers and pipe fitters, firefighters. I got to give these guys shout outs because these are the reasons why I'm there. The firefighters, the NPU, the Nevada Police Union, actually, those were the four.
Yeah.
And the carpenters. the carpenters.
So
And that's it. Everybody else, nobody had my back.
Who was everyone else? And who were you competing against?
There were 4 other people in the race. 3 other people. There was Cindy Rivera. There was Aaron Bautista, who's now a regent, and then there was Antonio Bowen, who was a pastor at a church. All good candidates. All got credentials. All with are solid like a competition. And,
Yeah.
But you kicked their ass.
I did pretty well.
Bro, he
let's-
smoked him.
come
Bro.
on. I did pretty well.
Look, I'll tell you, sitting where I was at that time, I was representing the ironworkers, and the ironworkers were running a campaign. And this is how like fucking dirty politics could get. Ironworkers were running campaign. There was a lot of undocumented folks and stuff, and we were getting a lot of community support and a lot of community rally against the contractor, because you know how the organizing goes. You look for community support, so it's not just like the unions. And I got approached by a Democrat, and they were like, "Hey, in this race, there's a lot of people that are community leaders who want to see a different candidate get elected, and your whole campaign can come tumbling down." And when you're like a year and a half in, 2 years into this fucking thing, you're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm thinking this is like a high profile Dem or something, because at the time I'm new to politics. You're like, "Oh no, like an assembly person." No, bro. We endorsed another candidate instead of fucking Ruben, and I wanted Ruben, bro. And that's what I'm saying. I'm glad he's a positive guy, because he wouldn't be fucking sitting here. We wouldn't be fucking friends.
And I understood that. I understood the politics. So that's why I never took it out on nobody. I immediately looked at building bridges and reconnect, because I understood that. And I was told by many people to there's been a strong like push to not get behind you. But you're our guy. We know that you are the best. I heard this from many people who said that we know that you are the best qualified person for this race. You understand the district. You're from there. You're an organic leader, and we hope you win. I heard it from a lot of people.
Well, and that's
they couldn't say that publicly,
Right.
So I just had to win. That's all I had to do. I had to go out there and work my ass off and just win the race. And I knew that it would be okay. And again, building those bridges and reconnecting, not holding any grudges. That was a big part of like my work, campaign work after the primary was rebuilding bridges and letting people know I'm not holding no grudges. Let's move forward from here.
And that's what makes you unique, bro. Because and again, not holding grudges is what makes you a very special, and why makes you a very special elected official, and why I appreciate you so much, bro. But like, I will say it fucking publicly. That you don't know this, bro. Like, you do not know this. You knew that story that I told you of why.
Yeah.
But that also was the fucking eye-opener for me to be like, these motherfuckers ain't shit. Like, who had my back? That candidate loses, and I still lost the campaign. Like the organizing campaign.
Right.
So, well.
Didn't even matter.
Didn't fucking matter. And that's when I was like, fuck this, like, fake bullshit about, like, you have to do what we say and don't endorse this person and don't endorse that person. And Ruben, I remember it was like, Ruben's a teacher, and can you believe he went to Yale and now he's teaching? And like, they try to frame you out to be like a scumbag, and it's like, this is a fucking great man here.
Right.
Bro. Like, and I still lost in the end, and I was like, you're using me as a political pawn to help benefit you and your agenda. Fuck you and your agenda, and fuck you for trying to use me. And so that's when I was like, it was a fucking light switch. And again, bro, like I said, you've never heard that part of the story, but that's what was the turning point for me, where I was like, oh, you guys are fucked, because I'm not scared anymore, because I got left in the fucking dust.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I definitely feel you. That's why I don't forget who had my back, and especially the CCA.
Yeah, bro.
They're the good teachers union, right?
Yeah,
they're the greatest.
They're the only teachers union as far as I'm concerned, bro.
Because there's another one that we hate, right?
There's a healthy competition, I think. Sometimes
Come on, talk shit about him, Ruben.
No, listen.
But I'll tell you, CCA is the teachers union in this state that has moved the needle in education.
Yeah.
I mean, even I'm surprised and just taken aback by the sort of success that CCA has had over the last few election cycles, and also in the last few legislative cycles, with the getting a tax increase on mining.
Yeah.
Huge deal. Getting the $250 million set aside in SB 231, and finally getting a raise. And even last session with our expedited arbitration, which essentially gives us the right to get out there and organize, and not to strike per se, but to get out there and demonstrate.
Yeah.
And then define what a strike is, and then also have a much quicker solution to contractual problems that we may have. I'm surprised at the success, but it comes to the relationship. I learned this from John Villadita. He says the end goal is the signature. It's not about fighting the good fight or getting out there, being like, an ideologue. It's about like, can we get something done here?
Yeah,
and
right.
remember, in the end, the signature is what matters, and we got to work your way backwards.
the only
I will never forget that. He told me that a few days before I went up to Carson City, and I think about it every single day when I'm up there. Like it's about getting stuff done and knowing what the environment is and the realities of the situation that you're in. And that oftentimes we're required in a divided government, working with the other side.
Yeah.
But the end goal is to move the needle forward.
Right.
And that's how you keep progressing.
So then you win your election in 22, right? And so that's you've had two sessions, 2023, 2025. In those two sessions, what are you most proud of accomplishing during those two sessions?
So actually, this is something I've been reflecting on more recently, and especially like in the last 2 months, and that's Assembly Bill 226, which I'm seeing very quickly is, there could be a federal challenge to it, but this is a bill now that allows undocumented people to get in-state tuition after moving here to the state for 12 months. It's in NRS. It's in the law. It's a benefit. It's a protection. So no matter what the Trump administration says or does right now, we have that in our law. It's one of the reasons I think that the U.S. Attorney's Office is going at DOJ is actually going after our schools. There's a bunch of we've always been like helpful to undocumented people, and it is a right and moral thing to do. I think every indicator shows that when you invest in the education of immigrants, especially folks who are like really with their backs against the wall, folks who are matriculated seeking a college degree, it's nothing but a boon for our economy. But right now there's a strong anti-immigrant sentiment in this country, and
I wonder why.
Yeah, I know it hurts my heart, And I know a lot of these folks who are making these statements and saying that you need to deport them. We're giving you, we're spending tax money, taxpayer money on like illegal immigrants. I mean, this is what they're saying. But I'm like, every indicator says, you invest in them, they're going to be a boon to our society, to our economy.
They're going to serve our fucking country.
They're going to serve our country. They're going to be, they're going to be our school teachers. They're going to be our nurses. So, but they don't give a damn about any of that. They're like, this person's illegal, undocumented, and they need to be kicked out. But as a student of history, this isn't something this isn't new. There's this he's a New York Times writer, Howard Fineman. He passed away now, and in his book he said that every time the U.S. foreign-born population hits about 15%, you'll see a strong backlash, and this has happened multiple times in the 1840s, in 1920. There was immigration policies that pretty much shut our borders. And then again now, and he said that in the 2020s, this is I read this book in 2010, 2011. He said by the 2020s, if the foreign-born population keeps increasing, you will see a strong backlash. And it's like the guy was a prophet, because now but it surprises just how aggressive the backlash is. So I'm glad to know that we still have a protection in place as of today. It's still in place where if you are an undocumented person, you move into the state, you live here for 12 months, you pass the high school equivalency test, then you can get in-state tuition, which is a considerable saving, for folks, when it comes to college. The in-state and out-of-state tuition rates are vastly different. Sure. So I'm realizing now that that's a bill that we passed in a timely manner, in a manner I should say, and it's helping a lot of people.
Awesome. And then coming up, we have the film.
Oh bill. Yeah. I am publicly. I've been very full-throated support for the bill.
Are you getting backlash for being?
I get backlash. I do.
From who?
Who are they?
Let's hear the name. Give me the fucking names, brother.
Let's talk shit about them.
You know who they are.
Let's talk shit about them.
You know exactly who they are.
I know.
But I mean, there's some healthy backlash. There's some healthy criticism. But there's some folks who are just sending me death threats, telling me that if I do this, that there's going to be repercussions, and I got a lot of this for the A's too. I got a lot of death threats after voting yes.
Death threats?
Death threats.
Yeah, bro.
For the after voting yes for the A's.
Jesus.
Yeah. It wasn't just me. It was pretty much everybody who voted yes. A lot of it came from here, but a lot of it came from Oakland.
But a lot of it was online, right? A lot of it was online. Have you been threatened to your face?
People have been very aggressive to me, to my face for that bill, the A's bill. which again I believe was the right. I would to my last day. I'll say this was something we had to do, and now we're seeing the benefits. The construction jobs. It's creating a new venue on the strip, but I'm getting a lot for the Hollywood bill too. But then when I explain it to folks, they get it. I think that there's like this skewed like misinformation out there.
Misinformation is a fact, bro.
About the bill. But my neighbors, the regular Nevadans who I talk to, they all support it.
Yep.
I have not come across one like person who's not in politics come to me and tell me that they think the bill is bad. On the contrary, they're asking me what happened. We needed this.
Yeah.
We're excited. So that gives me also some assurances that the people are the regular run-of-the-mill people, the ones who are not being polled, the folks who are just, the average day-to-day Nevadans, Las Vegans especially, are very supportive of the bill.
Yeah. So, dude, I mean, look, we're running out of time here pretty quickly, but I just want to say thank you for everything you do. Not just your service in the military, not just, fighting the good fight and coming, but your work you do with your students, the work you do with the unions, the work you do for the fucking state, bro. You, to me, are the true American hero. You are the story of what it is to be an American, bro. And I fucking thank you. And I thank you for everything you do.
That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, bro.
And I want to thank you for your work as well.
Yeah.
I will always have the back of labor. I put my money where my mouth is. I have 2 sessions now. I believe 100% voting record, both sessions. And again, it's my people. You look at my my actual the actual labor force in my district. I have 15% of my employed actual constituents are construction workers. 15%. The state average is like 7%, and then I think the national average is like 4%. I mean, I have a very heavy focus on construction, jobs, and I will always support, my constituents. It's the right thing to do. When 1 out of 6 working constituents in a district is in the construction business, you got to support construction.
Yeah,
you got to support the construction trades.
Immigrant, Marine. What did you say? Yale graduate.
Yale, yeah, yes.
School teacher, legislator. What's next for Ruben Da Silva?
I'm just. Service is the key, though. I mean, you look at all of those. Serving in the armed services, teaching, public school. Serving in elected office. It's service. It's where I get like my sense of purpose. It's when I know that I'm making a difference and helping other people. So whatever the next step is, it'll probably be oriented around something like that.
Hell yeah,
it's awesome.
Good. You got anything, Daniel?
No, I appreciate you coming, man. This was awesome. It was good to. I don't know you as well as Vince, so it was awesome to get to know you. And next time we have you on, we're gonna need you to talk some shit about some people.
Yeah, bro.
So, I don't know.
It's all good. Shout out to your frat, bro.
Oh, Phi Beta Sigma. Yeah, big shout out, man. Big shout out.
Yeah, bro.
Another very, like I said, I mentioned all these names: Breon and Frank Perez and Courtney Wagner. They're all my fraternity brothers.
Courtney Ketter.
Bro,
he might be Las Vegas's most interesting man. Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you coming on, brother. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, bro.